Here's another show you can enjoy in the True Story FM family of entertainment podcasts. Ever wonder what bridges the gap between your favorite film genres, subgenres, and movements? CinemaScope is here to explore these connections, taking you on a thrilling odyssey through the ever-evolving art of cinema. I'm your host, Andy Nelson, and in each episode, we embark on a deep dive into the forces that sculpt the world of film. From the styles you know and love, like heist films or the French New Wave, to the ones you may not be as familiar with, like Turkish Yeşilçam or Brazilian Nordwesterns, my expert guests and I unravel the complex tapestry of storytelling, style, and innovation that defines the world of film as we unpack the myriad catalysts of change that shape these diverse styles. Whether you're a student of film, a creative professional, or simply a devoted movie enthusiast, CinemaScope is your gateway to a richer, more immersive film experience. Don't just watch movies, understand them, appreciate them, and revel in their artistry with CinemaScope. Subscribe today.
Coming up on The Devil's Details, Rock, Paper, Schisms, Dante's Inferno, Part 8. Good morning, Star Lovelies, and welcome to another episode of The Devil's Details, a show where we dig up, decipher, dissect, and deconstruct the many forms of the devil. One of my names is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I sometimes go by Kynan Diaz.
And we're just two lost souls hitchhiking down the highway to hell. And just a reminder, today's episode was originally recorded as bonus content for our first podcast, The Exorcist Minute, so I think we should hand it over. Take it away, past Lester and Kynan. Continue our exploration of Dante's Inferno, Part 1 of Dante's Divine Comedy.
Let me look that up, and that is correct.
Okay, good. We got to make sure, folks. We are nothing if not we're just nothing. We're just nothing. No, Lester, get back up. We're almost done.
Out of the circle, yeah.
Okay. Last time, folks, remember, there were motherfucking snakes in this motherfucking malebolge, and a dragon, and a horseman, and a bunch of lizards, but it turned out these lizards were actually 5 Florentine thieves. 5 Florentine thieves. 4 inverted popes.
3 dog heads.
2 evil pockets.
And a panther or leopard, we're not sure.
Okay, there we go. We're done with that. Okay. Yes, folks, they were animorphs, and they were forced to spend eternity morphing and fusing with each other from man to beast and beast to man. In fact, I swear I remember Dante turning to the camera and saying, "This is just like Animorphs, isn't it? That popular kids' book series?"
By popular, they mean the ones that no kid has ever read because they've been terrified of at the library.
They've only seen the covers?
Covers.
Yeah. So actually, you never know. Dante could have written those. You know,
right.
You never cracked one open, did you? No, you didn't. But Dante then sees tiny points of light in the next malebolge, and he says, "You would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies lift the world up as I fall asleep because they fed." No. He didn't do that. That was the popular band Owl City. And I believe the song was Fireflies.
Practicing for your DJ audition.
Yes. Well, yeah, hey, we don't know. There could be a club down in the last circle of hell. We have not been there yet.
There certainly is, yeah.
And I'm just, that was Owl City.
Of course, you were in hell, so that was Owl City. The last song has been Owl City for the past 10,000 years.
And now, Taylor Swift, no, just kidding. Owl City. Again.
There's a club in Tennessee where I spend half my time that is in one of those. There's a lot of caves in that part. Like the biggest cave in the world is in Kentucky. What do you call it? Mammoth Caves.
Oh wow!
And so they have the deepest thing you can actually go into. And so they have a club down there that looks like hell. In Tennessee because it's in a cave. Yeah, so you go.
Oh my god!
Which sounds like hell to me because I would feel like claustrophobic or whatever. There's a nightclub down there and like a speakeasy and all that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it's specifically made to look like hell?
I think it just does because it's in a cave.
Because I was going to say, if they don't call it Dante's Inferno, then they need their license revoked.
No, let me see this here. I'll do some buzz marketing just for them. I mean, it looks like hell. I mean, sure, just because the ceiling is a cave.
Give me a malebolge on the rocks.
I'll text this picture to you and you can see this.
You get a pope in the hole.
But yes, if I were cooler and braver, I would go here. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me text.
And I interest you in these 7 deadly drinks.
Yeah. If I liked drinking, dancing, talking to strangers, or being underground, this is where I would go.
Not necessarily in that order, huh?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
It's called the Caverns. In Grundy County.
All right. Well, folks, just do yourself a favor and Google the Caverns of Grundy County.
Yeah,
Grundy, right? Not Grunty.
Grundy, like okay. Solomon Grundy.
Yeah. Oh, Solomon Grundy. Yeah.
Take a look. Does that look like hell to you or heaven?
I mean, that is a hell of a good time. Whew, there we go. I saved it. But yeah, it looks like heaven for a devil like me.
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So where are we in Dante land?
Yes. Okay. So he doesn't sing the Fireflies song.
Yeah.
But yeah, what we actually see, what he actually sees are people from a distance engulfed in their own. This is the review. We haven't even gotten to the part. So I was reviewing.
Yeah, I know.
He sees people, engulfed in their own personal bonfires, right? Dante and Virgil meet two of them, Ulysses and Diomedes, right? Or Odysseus and Diomedes, right? And they were out Odysseusing, and they accidentally found Mount Purgatory. But then God said nope and swept them away in a giant whirlwind,
or like a whirlpool,
right? Panther, leopard, whatever. And now they're here. Lastly, we meet Guido de Montefeltro, who was a scheming fox up on Earth, but then he became a monk. But it was under Pope Boniface, so they just kind of schemed with each other. And he thought that he had an in because Papa B could absolve him of future sins. But then an angel came and dragged him to hell, explaining it doesn't really work that way. So yeah,
Pope should have told you.
Pope should have told you, right? And that's pretty much where we left off. So let's jump back in here with Canto 28, Malebolge 9, still in Circle 8. So Dante once again opens this canto by telling us that we will not believe what he is seeing. And what he is seeing is a pit filled with people who have been maimed, mutilated, split open with their guts tumbling out of their chests and stomach, their bowels on full display, their hearts still beating and flopping all over the place, and their lungs still expanding. These people have been split or severed because they have caused schisms in life. So they have sowed dissension and torn kingdoms or families or organizations apart.
Now, I want to back up Dante because normally he says, oh, you won't
back
believe
up,
it.
Dante. Dump truck Alighieri.
Right, I just want to be his wingman here because normally he's been saying you will not believe this, and then it's oh, it's a scary monster. Well, I do believe that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read books before. I've talked to people with imaginations. But you will not believe who's coming up in this Malebolge.
Oh, you will not believe
I would say, Lester, the most famous person in Dante's Inferno.
Yes,
is down in this Malebolge.
Yes,
okay,
this is what makes Dante's Inferno infamous and problematic.
Okay,
we sound like a BuzzFeed article. It's
absolutely
the most famous character number one will probably make you very angry. Oh my God! Right. How do we even?
So that was if we had ads, which we don't. We say this you won't believe. So we've seen Julius Caesar down here, right? We've seen popes.
Yeah, we've seen popes. Oh my gosh! How could it get worse than popes?
Cleopatra. Who's more famous than Cleopatra?
Who's
more famous?
Listeners,
than
is more famous than Cleopatra?
Who's more famous than Judas Iscariot? Yes. Who do we have down here? All right, did we do it?
I think we do.
We're gonna keep them guessing.
Yeah. Kynan, let's just not mention this part. Let's just skip over this as if it didn't happen. No, we have to do this.
No, I guess so.
Okay, but before we get there, I want to point out
more famous than Hercules.
More famous than Hercules.
But definitely more famous than Hercules.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm on pins and needles right now, folks. And I know who it is. And I'm yeah. God, we got to talk about this. Okay, so but before we do, I want to point out something that Dr. Patrick Burke, hi Burke, says. He explains that schisms it's such a fun word also, schism, right?
Yeah.
He explains that they are different from heresies. Remember, we already saw heretics burning in tombs back up in Circle 6.
6
in the city of that circle.
That circle.
That circle, precisely. Yes. Yes, Dr. Burke says that schisms are different from heresies in that schisms promote a split or division within an organization, such as a church or the state or even the family, whereas heresy directly contradicts the doctrine of the church. Yeah.
So this was interesting. So Dante's writing this after the Great Schism, right? Which is where the Eastern Church split from the Western Church. So now we call it the Eastern Orthodox Church.
Right.
They don't call it that there.
Right,
It's called the Church. So he's writing before the Reformation, which is more famous to us in the West, right?
Yes.
The level of the split between Protestant and Catholic, right? So I knew that part, but then I was looking up like why he might be writing about this now in 1300. So this started to make some connections for me to some of our other episodes even. So he's writing this during the reign of Pope Clement V. That's Papacy V.
Papacy V, yes.
Who, through complicated machinations, exiled Dante, right?
Yeah.
Like not directly, right? But like part of it, right? So,
yeah. Let's say he didn't not exile Dante.
And Dante certainly blames him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he blames Papacy V.
Yes.
So I didn't realize this. So I was also wondering, like, when does this other like smaller schism happen that I've heard about, right? Where there was a pope in Avignon, France, in the south of France, right? So that is this time period. So Papacy V, Pope Clement, it turns out, is the first pope who refused to rule from Rome and instead lived in Avignon, France. So he was the first of this line of French popes. And I didn't realize this, but he was a childhood friend of Philip the Fair.
Philippe Le Bel.
Philippe Le Bel.
Philippe Le Bel.
Yeah. So Philippe Le Bel, so this is all coming together, right?
Yeah.
So Philippe Le Bel persecuted the Knights Templar, right? Because he owed them money and he scapegoated them for living in the
literally scapegoated them, yes.
Right, and said they worshipped Bahamut, right?
Yes, which could also be interpreted as, I'm not going to say. That's a little clue.
They were like because they had relationships with like business relationships and alliances with Muslims essentially, and that they were bankrolling a lot of the kings of the West. So Philippe Le Bel, Philip the Fair, right, was persecuting them. So that same
known to some as Philippe Le Cheap.
Right. So that same Philippe Le Cheap installs his childhood friend Papacy V, Pope Clement V, as the first of like 7 French popes who lived in France, in Avignon, instead of in Rome.
Yeah.
So that is what Dante's talking about. So Dante's writing this as a period piece, but so he's talking about this smaller schism, still a schism, not as big as the Great Schism and not as big as the Reformation later. But yeah, so he's living in that time period and talking about that.
Yeah, there's schisms all over the place, guys.
And Philippe Le Cheap.
Right? Philippe, how will we finance this war? Is it? Oh, let me get my wallet. I cannot. I must have left it in Rome. I just.
Yeah, so I hadn't looked that up earlier about. I hadn't made that connection. I didn't know to look it up, but like we talked earlier in our Inferno episodes about like what Dante is exiled from Tuscany and all that, and like it's weird. Someone from Rome is doing that, but it's not even that. It's someone from Avignon in the south of France is doing that.
Yeah. So crazy stuff. Thank you for illuminating us.
We got there eventually.
Yes, we did. That's the subtitle of our show. All right, folks. So let's get into it. So Dante first encounters a person who is, quote, rent from the chin to where one breaketh wind. That is the Longfellow translation, folks. So this guy is split from his chin to his ass.
So he says breaketh wind, huh?
Yeah.
And, my favorite Longfellow poem is all about wind. And so now I'm all conflicted. So it's a boy's will is the wind's will. As in like a boy, his ideas and his ideas of himself like go on the wind and they like go from here to here and they flit around. So a boy's will is the wind's will and the thoughts of youth are long, long thoughts, which I love. And now I'm going to think about farts.
So, I mean, that was the first thing that I thought of when you said a boy's will is the wind's will. I teach middle schoolers.
That's right.
And let me tell you, a boy's will is the wind's will. And I'm suffering for it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I didn't know they would say that, breaketh wind, but there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so so this guy sees Dante staring at him, and so he introduces himself. And folks, depending on the translation, you might actually miss this. I'm reading from a couple of different translations, and I have a relatively later translation that simply reads, quote, "See how mutilated I am, and in front of me another goes weeping as well," end quote. So if you only read this translation, you wouldn't see a problem. But let me read from the Longfellow translation one more time. Quote, "How mutilated, see, is Mahomet. In front of me doth Ali weeping go," end quote. And so now I'm thinking, that cannot be right. So I check the Mandelbaum translation. Quote, "See now how maimed Muhammad is, and he who walks and weeps before me is Ali," end quote. So, yeah, folks.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
That's the end of our show.
That is it. That is the end of all future episodes. That is we are done. Yeah, that's all, folks. Yeah. So, folks, despite the more modern translations trying to scrub it, all you got to do is look at the earlier translations, or just go back to the original Italian, I guess, to see that Dante has put Muhammad, the founder of Islam, in his fake hell, presumably for and this is what Dr. Burke says, splitting Christianity into two sects, that of the Roman Church and Islam. And Dr. Burke also mentions Muhammad's son-in-law Ali, who then split Islam into Sunni and Shiite.
From Dante's point of view.
From Dante's point
Just
of
to
view.
be clear, right?
Yeah. Now, I'm actually a little bit ignorant of this. So I looked it up, and our Muslim listeners, please correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, firstly, to our Muslim listeners, I am sorry about this canto. I did not know about this coming in. So I'm going to take the mic away from Dante right now. He's going to go into podcast jail, and I'm going to focus instead on the history and the development of these two different groups of Islam, that is the Sunni and the Shia. So from what I understand, the division appears to be based on who the successor to Muhammad is. And each group has a different interpretation. So apparently, on the way back from his last pilgrimage, Muhammad made a sermon at the Ghadir Qum oasis, and took Ali by the hand and said, quote, "Anyone who has me as his Mawla has Ali as his Mawla." Now that word Muhammad used, Mawla, has multiple meanings, and this is one of the reasons for there being different interpretations. The Shiites, if I'm right about this, believe that Muhammad was naming Ali as his successor because one of the meanings of this word, Mawla, is master or leader. The Sunnis, however, interpret Mawla using its second definition, which is simply friend. The Sunnis believed that Abu Bakr, one of Muhammad's oldest friends and father-in-law, was the better choice to succeed Muhammad. Today, the Sunnis and the Shia, they share a lot of similar beliefs and practices, but the Shia believe that religious leadership must come from the Prophet Muhammad's descendants, while the Sunnis do not. Of the 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, about 87 to 90% are Sunni and 10 to 13% are Shia. So very interesting. It's always great to be able to learn more about the history and development of our religious cousins in the Abrahamic family, or the development of any religion. That is time much better spent than whatever Dante is trying to say over here. So we're gonna move on from this. We're gonna take Dante out of podcast jail, and we're gonna go ahead with the other stuff in this canto.
I did want to say that, like, yeah, I wonder why some of the translations don't say it's Muhammad. It doesn't seem like there's like debate about whether it is Muhammad. It just seems that, like, the newer translations, like the one that you and I read at first, like, just don't say it's Muhammad and don't say it's Ali. Yeah,
which brings a question. I didn't think we were going to be talking about this on the show, but the past crimes of artists and art, right? Like you get racial caricatures, or you get stuff that criticizes a religion, or really, really sexist stuff, or like really, really blasphemous stuff like this one. And then the attempt to keep that piece of art alive, but scrub the ugly parts from it. What do we think about that?
Well, I do a lot of work with Disney,
I was thinking
and
specifically of that. Yeah.
yeah. So I do a lot of work with the history of Disney, and I think that it is appropriate to scrub it out of stuff that you're going to now repackage to children.
Aha. Yeah.
Right. But I would prefer, obviously, as a historian and someone who likes to see how art can give us insight into racism and anti-Semitism and misogyny from the time, I would like it to still exist. Right.
Yeah.
Because I would like to take a look at that stuff. And I also don't want it just to be fed to children without any kind of context that this is wrong. Right. So on Disney Plus, like, I want Peter Pan to exist. I would like there to be a conversation so that when children see, have you seen Peter Pan? No, you haven't seen Peter Pan like with a group of young people recently. Have you?
No.
It's like, it's lovely. It's one of Disney's like absolute best. You're like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And then they show up with the Indians. Yeah. And it's called What Makes the Red Man Red. And it like I've seen it with a group of students, and it just like the energy is all just like, and it's really hard to recover. So like, I don't think that I'm seeing it with college students, right? I don't think that kind of thing should be shown to children without some kind of conversation with your parent or guardian about like, look at this, like, that's not how we do this anymore. And like, to, rather than for them to try to make sense of themselves, like, what do you mean, what makes the red man? I never even heard of this term of red man or any of these things, right? Or the things they use like to refer to women as squaws, which is just, like, so that needs some context. But I would prefer both versions to exist. So luckily with the Inferno, they both exist. But the versions that you and I read, they just don't have that at all, and there wasn't like a footnote saying, hey, like, so I wonder, like, that's not useful to anyone who would be reading Inferno. Like, by the time you're in like 9th grade, I think it's okay for you to be like, oh, I'm reading something from the 1300s and they were racist as shit back then, and like, oh, this is great art and it's racist, and like, how do we put those things together, Right.
I've heard arguments on both sides. And one of the arguments for keeping that stuff and like, but reserving it for, I guess, like controlled viewing and contextual like conversation is, if you completely scrub it, you're kind of letting the artist off the hook.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. It's like then nobody, like, in a couple more years, nobody's going to know that Dante did this terrible thing. Right. And everyone's going to be praising Dante up and down. And it's like, oh, Dante's
he was
great.
So progressive.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we were talking about like he had Saladin, who was a Muslim, like he's a great Muslim general and leader, etc. And so he puts him amongst the noble pagans. So a couple of episodes ago, I was like, oh, that's really progressive of Dante.
Exactly.
to think of like, we can have Muslims, right? But then no, like, now we have the the leader, the founder of Islam in here, and he's being humiliated in a torture that is from Dante's point of view, like a nice, ironic, artistic contrapasso, but is much worse than that. Like, So some people say, like, we need to separate the art from the artist. Have you heard that phrase?
I have heard of that. Yeah.
I think that's bullshit. I don't know what you think about that. Like that, because like, we don't want to separate the art from the artist when it's positive stuff.
Yeah.
So we want to say, like, oh, did you know? Oh, whatever. Like, Mary Shelley wrote the beginning of Frankenstein the same time that her friend wrote the first vampire story, and like all this stuff. And like, oh, when it's interesting and fun and helps us with that, we won't separate the art from the artist. We want to know about the artist. But then when it's inconvenient for us, then we need to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah.
I call BS on that.
Yeah. Because and this is just my opinion, but I don't think you can separate those things, right?
No,
like, so much of yourself gets poured into your art, right? And like, I'm just thinking of like, we talked about Harry Potter on the show before, right? But that's what a lot of people seem to be wanting to do now, is separating the art from the artist. But like, I don't know, like, you look at the actual story itself, and there are some problematic things in there as well, and you can kind of tell, sit back and be like, oh yeah, I can see how a person who thinks this way wrote a story, wherein some other problematic things are also happening.
Right. Yeah. So like, J.K. Rowling, Joe Rowling is a really good example of this. So like, when it is useful for us to tell the story that she lived in her car, right? She was very poor when she was writing this, and she was a single mother who like worked her way up and did all that. And then when she became a billionaire, she was the first billionaire in Britain to drop down from being a billionaire to a regular millionaire, because she gave so much of her money away to charity. And like, we tell those stories, right? When it's like, oh, that makes me like Harry Potter more, but then we refuse to tell the stories that make us like Harry Potter less.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, folks, it's
but that's the way that's literature is supposed to, and art is supposed to like help us understand the human condition.
Yes.
And J.K. Rowling is this person who has all these great strengths, and then has this terrible, terrible blind spot that is going to ruin her legacy unless she makes some great change, and she's going to be left behind in history, and that's interesting. So why are we trying to simplify the story,
that
right?
Is, that is a human. That is what a human is.
A human being. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, folks, much like Truey, in the little portrait on in Daddy's room, it's complicated.
What is this?
Are you serious?
Christ,
88 episodes.
Truey,
just dropped.
I haven't listened to it yet. Yes, Truey, the picture of Papa Truey
Folks,
in Papa and Daddy's room in the den. Yes.
I don't know if you could hear, but I started slowing down, waiting for the laugh that never came. It was like I had virtually raised my hand in a high five, spanning miles from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and my co-host just left me hanging.
Have our listeners mentioned any of our Truey talk yet? Have they?
No.
We were worried about it.
Yeah.
Like, should we keep any of this in?
Yeah. Well, no. See, that's the funny thing. I was listening to that as I was editing. It's like, wow, I am so afraid of talking about Harry S. Truman. And folks, here we are. Canto 29. Truman doesn't seem so controversial anymore.
Someone more famous than Harry S. Truman.
Someone way more famous.
All right.
Why couldn't it be, Dante, why couldn't you have come down to this malebolge and met Harry Truman split from chin to asshole?
Smug little face.
So what he did.
in that picture.
Anyway.
All right.
So we move on. I said we were going to move on like 5 minutes ago. So we still got to, because he's still here. We got to talk to him.
Oh, we still have more of him? No, we don't, do we?
Well, no, because he explains that there is a devil with a sword in this malebolge who, like, after these guys heal back up, apparently, like, they do this quite quickly. The devil slices them open again, and this cycle continues. And, and only after this long explanation does this guy stop and look at Dante, and he's like, so I noticed that you're not split from end to end. What is up with that? And Virgil, chimes in with his whole thing, where he's like, oh, Dante's still alive. He's got a fast pass from God. We just got, we just came here, to learn a lesson. But as soon as he finishes his speech this time, everyone in the malebolge stops and stares at them. And I imagine like there being like a record screech, right? And all the ambient, also all the ambient noises of hell stop, right? So you had like this nice kind of like, right? I don't know what hell sounds like.
That's the ambient noises.
That's the choir of the damned, right?
Right, that's caverns in Grundy County.
And it's just right. They don't actually sing words. They're just
right.
Yeah. But they stop too, right?
Right.
Yeah. And you hear yeah. Okay. So Dante really does say that like this news. Like at this news, the sinners become oblivious to their torture, right? They simply cannot credit that Dante is allowed to go on this walking tour of hell. And after this, there's a pause. And this guy that they're talking to says, then you who will perhaps soon see the sun, tell Fra Dolcino to provide himself with food if he has no desire to join me here quickly, lest when the snow besieges him, it brings the Novaris the victory that otherwise they would not find too easy. And I was like, and this, folks, this was before I knew who this guy was. So I was reading this and I was like, okay, so this guy is either a friend or a foe of Fra Dolcino, right? Because he's mentioning Fra Dolcino, right? So who's Fra Dolcino? I got to look this up. So I Googled Fra Dolcino, Dante's Inferno, right? Firstly, Fra is the abbreviation for an Italian friar or monk. So that makes sense, right? And so Fra Dolcino was the second leader of the Dolcinian reformist movement, who was burned at the stake in northern Italy in 1307. So I'm like, okay, reformist, Reformation. This guy was condemned as a heretic by the Catholic Church, and I guess Dante sees him as a sower of discord within the church, right, causing this split, right, this reformist movement. And apparently, the line about him like having to store up food is because he was captured in a siege during the winter, and of course, this is a period piece, so that has already happened when Dante is writing this.
Seems a little cruel. I mean, the guy lost the split didn't happen, right? So he was trying to reform it, and so it didn't become the Reformation or even a Reformation. So
right. Yeah.
Dante's really punching down in this circle. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, no, he's punching way up with one.
Oh. right.
Yeah. So, but no, but like he's being a dick here.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah. So after this, Dante's Muhammad,
right?
Let's get that clear, moves on, and up strolls Pierre da Medicina. Now, we don't know much about this guy, except that he was a political rather than a religious schismatic. That's still so fun to say, schismatic, right? I'm gonna go do a schism after work. You want to go do a schism, right? I'll do one or two schisms, yeah. Okay, so he sowed discord between the Malatesta and the Polenta families. He appears to Dante with his throat pierced through and his nose and one ear chopped off. He asks Dante to warn Guido and Angiolello that they will be thrown from their ships into the sea by a one-eyed traitor that is presumably another Malatesta. So I guess Angelo and Guido are... the other ones, the Polentas. Yeah. So, Dante says that he will do this if this guy, Pierre, tells him about this other guy standing right next to them. So, boy, Dante, like you don't got room to talk, buddy.
Right.
But yeah, so
and who's the other guy?
Yes. Right next to you.
Right next to you.
So
because Virgil's not stepping in to do it, because normally Virgil would be like,
Virgil is mad.
That's Mosca.
Yeah, that's Mosca.
You're right. He was not going to do that this time,
no.
Dante has to do it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Virgil's got his own grievances right now. But yeah, so we will come to find. Yeah, but yeah, so this guy Pierre grabs this other guy and pries open his mouth, explaining that this is Curio, who gave advice to Caesar, which caused the civil war, which resulted in the transforming of Rome from a republic to an empire. Yeah, so we got more people. So like, it just amazes me that we have Caesar in hell, and then we have all of these people who like betrayed Caesar or gave him bad advice also in hell. So it's like, how dare you treat Caesar so poorly? You know, Caesar, the guy who is currently up in the first circle of hell. That's in
right.
limbo.
Yeah. That's right. But yeah, I was seeing that Curio was the one who was like, hey, you see that Rubicon there? Hey, boss.
Hey, boss.
Yeah, why don't you cross that Rubicon?
Why don't you cross that Rubicon? Yeah.
The die is cast.
The die is you know. Oh, trust me, you'll be remembered forever. Yeah, but yeah, that's how all deceivers sound.
Right, exactly.
They're rubbing their little hands, right?
Yeah. It'd be a shame if you would take over Rome and
right. And they got a little brother who's advancing in the family way too fast, and he's like, no, I'm smart. I'm not dumb like everybody says. I'm smart.
I'm a noble pagan.
How low can you go? No. Anyway. Greatest actor, folks.
John Cazale?
Yes, of all time.
Yeah, we decided that already.
Yeah. We decided that so you don't have to.
Right.
Go watch a John Cazale movie. I mean, no. Keep listening to our show. Then watch. Yeah. And then we get another guy whose hands have been chopped off. He raises his stumps in the air and he calls out that he too wishes to be remembered. But Dante knows who this guy is. This is Mosca de Lamberti, who encouraged the murder that ignited the fierce rivalry between, wait for it, the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. So this is the guy who started it all, right? And immediately Dante responds with, death to you and your entire family. And the guy runs off sobbing.
Dante, that's not nice.
Dante.
Oh, wait, let me say it like Greg. I didn't realize that. Dante, that's not very nice.
Dante, do you think my mom is pretty? She is a strumpet. No.
It's hard to tell. She's covered in shit. She's in a river of shit, and she's constantly going to the surface and farting out her air and going back down to the bottom.
Yeah. That's in the most recent translation. It's the longer fellow translation. Right. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, maybe he's asleep, honey. Oh, you think? Yeah. Yeah, his candles are definitely putting me to sleep. No. Okay. Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So Dante says death to you and your entire family to this guy. Which is just like the rhythm of this whole thing, right? All these souls are like, you should remember me. And Dante's like, okay. And another was like, you should remember me. And Dante's like, okay. And then this guy is like, and don't forget about me. And Dante's like, death to you and your entire family.
And he's raising his hands that are no longer there, his phantom limbs to him, like reaching out to him for help. Like, and maybe he's not saying like, forgive me, but that's kind of the pose, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, forgive me, Dante.
Yeah. This is, he can't even do it to the pigs.
No, he can't even do it. Yeah. And Dante has remembered him by putting him into this, which becomes the most, famous Italian piece of literature.
This is the thing that well, I was almost going to say, this is the thing that every character is most this is the thing that almost every character is remembered for, right? We're talking about Virgil, we're talking about Guido Cavalcante, right? All of those people are the most famous in Dante's Inferno, right?
Yeah, so he's made him famous.
Yes. Right. Like Chaco. But just the rhythm. He's like, yes, I'll remember you. It's like, fuck you. The guy runs off crying.
Right.
And it's like the first time that Dante, I think Dante has given, somebody, like, I think he gave Pope Nicholas a tongue lashing too.
Right.
But like, it's rare. Like usually these sinners come up and he's like, oh my gosh. Right. Or he's like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. Right. He's either afraid of them or he's moved to pity. And like, very rarely is he like, no, fuck you.
So we should pay attention to
fuck out of my face.
Right. Fuck you and the horseman you rode in on.
Yeah, right. And that's when necessary. No. But yeah, so next, Dante breaks the fourth wall again to say, folks, I can barely talk about this next guy. It's just so creepy. You're not going to believe this. He then goes on to describe a man walking towards them, holding his severed head by the hair. And Dante remarks two things. First, he remarks how casually this guy is holding his own head, which I had to stop and think about that. Like, how do you casually hold your head? I guess he's holding it by the hair. But folks, I have never had to hold my head casually. So I'm trying to get a visual here. Like, is he swinging it? Like, is it like slung over his shoulder like a backpack? Like, or is he just letting it like drag on the ground, and every time it like hits a rock, you just hear ow, 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 ow? Like, what is going on here?
I thought you were trying to do that song.
What?
Like, does your head hang low? Does it wobble to and from? Do you tie it in a knot? Do you tie it in a bow? Do you, what is it called?
Throw it over your shoulder
like a continental soldier.
Right. That is what's going on with this guy. This is just like a schoolboy with his new books, right? He's about to meet a fox and a cat who are going to steer him the wrong way, and he's just swinging his book bag, which is actually a head.
That's right. When I started my first production class at school in college at UNLV, we had the head of production come down, one of the professors, and he was talking to us about how to take care of our equipment, right? Like, hey, we're going to be renting out this equipment from the school, and he says, so take care of this like it's your own. And he goes, no, never mind. I see how you guys treat your own stuff. Take care of it like this is mine.
I like that. Now, the second thing. So speaking of like this head just going ow, 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 right? The second thing that Dante notes is that it seems as if the head and the body are two separate souls. So it's like it really is becoming a comedy here, because like you imagine them just like, it's like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Right. But that's how he describes it, is that these two entities are separate from each other, right? Like the head's looking one way and the body's still walking. And I imagine that's what it's like, oh, wait, stop, right?
I get it. So there's a schism. He's been schismed in of itself. Yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But he like the head sees Dante and he's like, hold on, feet, halt, Pump the brakes. Yeah.
Right. This is like Krang.
Yes.
So Krang is a brain inside of some body he built, right?
That is exactly right. Dante, I need to tell you about my contrapasso.
Yeah, I forget what his body
So the guy,
is. Yeah, I forget what the body's name is. No one cares.
Oh, I didn't know the body had a name.
He must, right? It's not him. It's not Krang's body. It's some other body.
Oh, it's like a body suit, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So Pat Fraley, I was listening to him talk about like how he came up with the Krang voice.
Oh, cool.
And he talks about how like he
Hold on, I'm sorry. We should. So Krang is a brain. Is the
oh yes, the Teenage
Mutant
Ninja Turtles.
Yes, he's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bad guy. Like he's like the second most bad guy after Shredder, but he's crazy. He's like because he's like totally amoral. He's a brain who sits in the stomach of this giant robot body.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's enough. I know you can see into the stomach and see Krang. So you see him talking. Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
there are listeners out there who are like, I am familiar with Dante Alighieri, but who are these four pubescent reptiles that practice ninjutsu?
Right. And why are they very loud and apparent and don't do a lot of sneaking around?
Worst ninjas ever.
Okay, so anyway, so you're the invention of the Krang voice for
yes.
The
so this is from Pat Fraley. So he was talking about when he was experimenting for it. He would do the lines both on the inhale and the exhale, right? Mm-hmm. So he would be something is like you'd be like, Shredder, come over here. There is something I want to tell you.
Oh yeah.
So that's this is really interesting little bit of voice actor lore there.
That's great.
Yeah, right on our history of the devil, Dante Alighieri.
Right, we just want to be clear. Krang is the most famous person in this malebolge show. That's who we were talking about. We were trying to hype up before. Yes,
Yeah.
The second villain on the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Turtles. Oh boy, yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So this guy with the severed head, he reaches our boys and he holds his head up like a lantern, and the head announces that he is Bertrand de Born, whom Dante actually knows. He's a famous troubadour poet who encouraged the rebellious Prince Henry against his own father, King Henry II. And I imagine that household had to go through much the same struggles as my own. Anytime like a messenger showed up at the castle gates and he's like, is Henry there? Yes. No, Henry Jr., yes, that's me, King Henry Jr. No. I mean, young King Henry. And King Henry's like, you better be talking about me still.
Right. Young King Henry is my father.
So, okay, folks, that was funny on two levels because he actually is referred to as, quote, young King Henry.
Which one?
King Henry II's son, Henry.
So King Henry III.
No. So his brother Richard the Lionheart became king, who, according to this documentary I watched, was an actual lion with a full regal mane. And he doesn't feature for most of this documentary.
Yeah, he comes in at the end after.
Exactly, right. Instead, we learn about his brother John. His brother John, who is also a lion.
So he has a big mane as well.
No. He doesn't have a mane. He's all scrawny looking. And his crown doesn't fit.
Right.
And he's trying to run the country, but he can't because he is being menaced by a fox who lives in Sherwood Forest. This fox has no pants. Sometimes they have like shirts and no pants, and sometimes they have pants and no shirts. It's very inconsistent. Then the Lion King returns from the Crusades, and John is banished, but not before signing the Magna Carta, which is actually a good thing. And that's not in the documentary. I had to look that up on my own. But yeah, British history, folks.
Right. Yeah. So where were we?
We were talking about Henry II.
Which one?
It doesn't matter because we were actually talking about Bertram de Born, who encouraged young King Henry to rebel against actual King Henry, neither of whom are lions. And that's actually why he's down here in Dante's hell, holding his head like a lantern, casually.
Well, that's interesting. So he wrote songs to encourage the king to rebel against his father, the king, or you know what I'm saying.
His father,
Anyways, he wrote songs, which is very interesting. So like he was like
Mm-hmm.
doing like the equivalent, I guess, of like Revolutionary War pamphlets, right?
Yeah.
But Thomas Paine would write in song form. But that sounds cool.
Killing your dad is a great thing to do. I don't know. I'm not a troubadour, folks. Okay. Yeah, we should get some of that. You know, that the stringed instrument.
Oh yeah. But then whatever, it's you know, killing your dad was a great thing to do, etc. As long as it ends with early in the morning. The middle doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then I come on the mic and I was like, that was Owl City. But yeah, okay, so yeah, folks, that was Canto 28.
Right.
That was Canto 28. And now we move on to Canto 29, Malebolge 9, Circle 8. So still in Circle 8. And we're also still in that 9th evil pocket, right? Yeah. So Dante is hesitant to move on. He is shook. But Virgil scolds him here once again for getting emotional. But here, Dante has a reason, right? He explains that he is actually looking for one of his ancestors whom he believes is down here. And Virgil's like, yeah, I saw him under the bridge that we just crossed. He was shouting and shaking his fist at you. Something about how you never avenged him. You were busy talking to the headless guy. Look, we got to move on. Is it me, Kynan, or does Virgil seem a little bit cruel in this canto?
Yeah, he's getting pretty mean in the last canto and in this canto. Yeah,
he's getting grumpy. This is grumpy Virgil.
Yeah, this time it's personal.
Yeah, right. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know why he's like more patient with that. You know, where's the Virgil who carried Dante like a baby, right? You know, into one Malebolge and the next, right? This is going on 3 hours sleep, Virgil, right? And he just wants Dante to shut up.
Yeah, and he won't pipe in and say, that's such and such.
Yeah, he didn't even do that.
You do it yourself. Yeah. You could go up to ask. You're grown up. Go ask them yourself if you want to know who they are.
Yeah. He is done. He is done with Dante's shenanigans. Yeah. So before, like, Virgil was like so ready to show Dante all the sights and sounds of hell and all the different sinners, but apparently this right here, this was a real ancestor of Dante's who was never avenged, and Virgil just sort of like brushes Dante off about this, right? And I keep forgetting that Dante is the one writing this. So Dante writes Virgil brushing him off. So what does Dante actually think of this ancestor whom he doesn't get to meet because his Virgil makes him like, you know, hurry on?
But Dante makes him hurry on and Dante. And then Dante is also putting his ancestor in hell.
Yes.
Right? So do you have an ancestor you would like to condemn to hell?
No, I don't. I can't go so far. Yeah, I can't think of one. No.
I had a friend, my friend Noah Miller, who's a writer and teacher, and he had, I think it's his great grandfather or his great great grandfather, and you know he's doing his own like genealogy, and then he discovers that like the original Noah Miller, who he shares his name, like was a mass murderer who did terrible deaths and like killed a bunch of Chinese immigrants in his little town and stuff. And he's like, well, that's where my name comes from. Great. Wonderful. I doubt his parents understood that when they were like, oh, here's a family name, Noah. Yeah.
Noah, that's biblical. Yeah.
Right.
Oh God. Jeez. Yeah, I haven't really looked too far into my my ancestry, mostly because we got like for Christmas, like all of our family got like a little like free like ancestry.com thing.
Oh yeah.
And so like everybody else like, you know, did their thing and they put in their data and everything like that, and they found out like, you know, all this cool stuff, and they were like, Lester, you should do it. And I was like, I kind of already have it done for me,
right,
because you guys did it. You know,
are they trying to tell you something? They're like, Lester, you should open that.
You should look into who your ancestors are, son.
Yeah.
Let's see if they match up. No. No. But yeah. So okay. So this guy, this guy who Dante doesn't get to meet, this ancestor. This is Jerry de Bello, which I always thought it was Gary, but everyone that I'm listening to is pronouncing it Jerry, which I really like. Yeah, so it's Jerry. It's Jerry. So
Jerry the Beautiful.
Yeah, Jerry the Beautiful. Oh yeah, de Bello, right? I'm Jerry the Beautiful, right? Well, hello.
Oh, it's you. It's my favorite king. Philip the Cheap.
Yeah. He just kind of prances on there on all fours, right? Like Pepe Le Pew.
That's right. Talk about separating the art from the artist, Pepe Le Pew.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we mentioned him once before, and then just like skedaddled from that.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah, but then as soon as Jerry's like, hey, yes, I found this new cafe. Come on, Philippe, and he's like, oh, is it, you will have to pick up the tab. There's no tabs at a cafe. Oh, I am suddenly a little sick. It's like, you don't have lungs anymore.
All right, so that's Jerry the Beautiful, Jerry de Bello.
Jerry de Bello, yeah. So apparently he was the cousin of Dante's father, who started a feud between his family and another, and whose killing obliged the Alighieri family to vindicate his murder.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where, like, vindicate, vendetta, are those
I think they're
close?
I think they're related, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sure. We're just going to say that, yeah. So, yeah, so we never get to meet this guy, right? We just see him at a distance going, right? But as they're talking, they reach the bridge over the final malebolge. This is it, guys, right? This is the last malebolge, right? The weeping and the wailing is so loud that Dante has to cover his ears, and the smell is that of rotting human flesh, almost overpowering. Dante does go on to compare the sight and the smell to a couple overcrowded hospitals in Valdichiana and Maremma and Sardinia from July to September specifically. And I imagine like early readers would understand that better. Like maybe there was like a plague or something, or it was just like especially overcrowded during that time.
Right.
And he describes them like all these sinners, right, in the malebolge. He describes them all lying huddled together like discarded pots and pans, right? And they're all gasping for air, suffering as if from some pestilence, and frantically scratching themselves and each other. Because their scabs are apparently like maddeningly itchy. Mm-hmm. He likens this action to the scaling of a fish, right? Like he's like how like when you like scale a fish with your knife. Mm-hmm. And I'm here in 2023 reading this and being like, yeah, I know exactly how you do that, right?
Right.
It's like they're scratching really. I know more about scratching really, really itchy scabs than I do about scaling a fish.
That's right.
But yeah, so Dante and Virgil.
So now you know how to teach someone how to scale a fish.
Yeah. So I'll be like,
do it like you scratch a scab.
like you're scratching your pestilential body, your gross, nasty, plague-ridden arm.
Right. They're like, got it, chief.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry.
Fish dish.
Yes, chef is what they would say.
Yes, chef. Yeah. Right. Then you don't have to worry because the rat under your hat will do it for you. So they descend into this malebolge, and Virgil approaches two of these sinners who are just like scratching away. Mm-hmm. And he literally says, he's like, don't stop scratching. Just answer me while you scratch.
Right.
Are there any Italians in this pouch? Mm-hmm. Right. Is this something that like this is something that he's done before, right? And it has me wonder, is this just so Dante can understand them?
Not that he would speak their regional Italian language anyway.
See, that's the other thing. It's like, oh, your Tuscan accent, right? But he's specifically asking for Italians every single time.
Right.
But yeah, so it turns out that these two guys are Italian, right? Very convenient. So, and one of them is from Arezzo.
So never mind. If he's from Arezzo, he does speak Tuscan. Like Dante. Very convenient.
That is
very, very convenient.
Virgil, it is a very small world. It is a very small world on fire. Yeah. Okay. So this guy from Arezzo supposedly joked with Albert of Siena that he could fly. Mm-hmm. And apparently, if I'm reading this right, Albert of Siena was mad that he actually couldn't make him fly. And so he had him burned for alchemy.
If we're reading that right.
If we're reading that right.
I didn't understand it either, so okay.
Well, maybe, like another note here. So Albert of Siena was a Franciscan friar, but not a flyer. But he was an associate of Bernardino of Siena and a diplomatic envoy of Pope Eugene IV.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if what's happening here is this guy from Arezzo is like an alchemist, like selling. It's like, hey, like I can make you fly, and then it doesn't work, and rather than it's like, hey, you lied to me, I'm going to punish you. I'm just going to punish you for alchemy. Do you see what I mean?
No.
Okay.
So sorry, I don't.
Or there's this thing. Okay, who's Icarus's father? Daedalus?
Daedalus, yeah.
Okay, because in one of the translations, this guy from Arezzo says like he was mad at me because I couldn't make him like Daedalus.
Okay.
So that means to me that it wasn't that like he joked that he could fly and then he found out that he was lying, and because of this stupid lie, why would you make this stupid lie?
Right.
He burns him at the stake. I think what's happening is this: he conned Albert of Siena into like buying like a potion that could supposedly make him fly.
Right. Okay.
And then it didn't work. And rather than like call him out on it, he's like, hey, this guy sold a potion, because he's of the church, Albert of Siena, right?
Right.
So he can't be seen like taking any like potions or spells
right.
that'll make him fly.
I see. Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Right.
So when it didn't work, instead of calling him out on like you're a shitty alchemist, he just decided, hey, we got an alchemist over here.
Right. You sold me bad drugs. And you're a drug dealer.
Yeah, right.
It's not me. I wasn't buying drugs.
Right.
I wasn't buying.
You sold me bad illegal
magic
drugs. I mean, you're a drug dealer. That's,
you're right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I think that's what happened. But yeah, I could be wrong. And folks, write in if you know better.
And this bulge is all for alchemists and fakers and falsifiers and things.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Specifically, like they mention alchemy quite a bit.
Yeah. It seems like just about all of them are alchemists. So.
Yeah. And yeah. So speaking of this other soul, Capocchio. That is his name. Like, and I've heard people say it out loud. Capocchio. I really like that, right? Because it is spelled like Pinocchio, right?
Yes,
it's the CCHIO, right? Capocchio. Dante's friend in his school days, right? Who was burned for alchemy in 1293.
Yeah. And I wonder, because alchemy, I'm just thinking about this out loud right now. Sorry, I'm trying to put these things together. So like alchemy so sometimes in the secular world, we think of it as like the attempts at science before the scientific method, right? And so I guess from a religious standpoint, in like religious society, it's worse than quack science or like beginning science. It's like an affront to the nature of things and God and all of that. So that's why it's sort of down here with these other bolgia.
If I remember correctly, there like back in the day, like science and magic were in some cases almost interchangeable, right? And the lines were really, really blurry between what was science and what was considered magic.
Right.
And there was, I might be wrong about this, but I believe there was a thought that like, the element of lead and the element of gold are like one atom off from each other. And so like alchemists were like, oh, this like, we're lousy with lead. We can, all we got to do is like, like swap these atoms around and we can have gold up to our, from our chin to our ass.
Right.
But I like, again, just like the way that Dante is putting, fortune tellers and, like people who practice magic in his hell, I imagine he's also looking at alchemists being like, you're breaking God's game.
Right.
You're using cheat codes, right? Like you're changing one thing into another thing, and you can't do that.
And we're promising you gold in heaven, and
exactly. Like, why do you need
eternal reward? Why are you trying to change the material world to
Right. This is a double sin, because it's like, you shouldn't even be worried about gold. Right?
Yeah. Or flying. Who wants to fly?
Yeah. What do you? It's like, if man were meant to fly. Yeah. And so, that is Canto 29. And now we move on to Canto 30. We are on the home stretch here, folks, right? There's 34 cantos in this thing. We are almost done. So Dante opens this next canto where we left off in the last malebolge. He begins with another callback to Ovid, retelling two stories, that of Athamas in Thebes and Hecuba in Troy, both of them driven mad by the deaths of their children. Now, Dr. Jennifer Holberg says that most folks see this as a shout out to Ovid, right? But she is of the opinion, and I agree, and I think we've mentioned this on the show before, that Dante is once again comparing himself to Ovid, because after describing the grief in these two stories, he brings us back to his story, and he says, but they were nothing like this. So Dr. Holberg goes on to say that Dante is able to disguise this boast by claiming that Ovid's story is just a story, and his truth is stranger than Ovid's fiction. After this, Dante returns to talking with Capocchio. Capocchio's still here. But they are interrupted when two sinners come running at them. Dante compares them to naked, rampaging boars. They're completely insane with rage. And that was why the Ovid stories. So he could say that these crazy sinners were worse than anything Ovid could have written.
And I just want to say, Lester, that the notes you put together for these bonus episodes are just way crazier than anything Dante could have written.
Oh, right. I mean, like, you look at, we ran out of characters in a Google Doc.
Did we tell them that?
I don't know. That's not a fake brag. Like, right. I actually did. Like,
we found the end of Google. It was like 650 pages or something crazy.
It was 650 pages. Yeah. It was like because I have to write everything.
And it was like no. Yeah, you have to get another Google Doc.
Yeah. So folks, my notes are nothing. Like my notes. If you took The Exorcist, Dante's Inferno, Paradise Lost. And you know what? Fuck it. Just the entire history of the devil, and you stacked them all on top of each other, my notes would still be longer. Because I'm that insane, folks.
Right.
But not as insane as these sinners who come up and bite Capocchio by his neck. They go and they grab him by his neck with their teeth, right? Dante compares them to, like we said, boars. So
if they were after Dante, they'd go after his rump, but they're after Capocchio and they're after his neck. So that must be.
They were hiding behind his rump. It was so large.
He must have a tasty neck. Like, I'm gonna give me that Capocchio neck.
Tastier than. And as they drag Capocchio off, you can see Dante's just a little bit like disappointed. He's like, oh, didn't even nibble. Just like, oh God. Okay. Well, anyway. Now these two sinners. Okay, so we're back to before they drag Capocchio off, right?
Right.
We got to identify these two guys, right? Or these two sinners. They have committed the sin of false identity. The first is Gianni Schicchi, I believe. Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, who impersonated his friend's dead father in order to help his friend alter the father's will. Right? Yeah. The second is, how would you say, like, this is a famous person. This is Mira or Myra?
It looks like, there's a couple R's where you wouldn't think they'd be. Yeah. So like Myra, I guess.
Myra.
Or like Mira.
Mira, yeah, right? Who is also from Ovid, right? She disguised herself as someone else to sleep with her own father.
Right? Just cause, not to get a will or anything.
I didn't read it. I don't know if there's like something to be gained by that.
Right.
Is this another like will situation? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ancestry, like, the bloodline. I don't know. You check it out, folks. Ovid. Mira. Crazy, 18 or older, please. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So, and these two sinners, right? Like I said, they run and they bite Capocchio by the neck. And they drag him off, and that's the last we hear of like all of them.
Right.
They never come back.
Other fish to fry. Let's keep moving.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like Dante Alighieri, right? He writes these people into his story, and some of them have these eulogies, some of them have these soliloquies, and some of them just like show up, and they're famous people, and they show up and they're like, and then they just leave,
right?
And that's it. Right? And it could have been anybody. You hear that, Dante? It could have been anybody. But yeah, so Dante then turns and sees another spirit. This guy, his body is bloated with dropsy. He is barely able to move. Dr. Holberg points out that even his distorted frame is a lie because Dante compares him to a lute, right? Which, what is it? Isn't a lute like...
It's like a guitar.
Okay. I keep on thinking it sounds so much like flute. I'm like, no, it's not a wind instrument. It's a stringed instrument.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like that guy who gets drunk in Disney Sleeping Beauty and he gets the wine in his lute.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay, that's a lute. Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, so he's talking about like he's like fat, like he's bloated.
Yeah,
is what Dante is trying. Okay, right. Okay, so but like they say that this is so. Dr. Holberg points out that this is also a lie because later this guy will pound his belly and it will sound like a drum. So he's not a lute; he's a drum. Right. But yeah, so this guy is Master Adam, whom Dante may have known in life. I think they said he's actually witnessed his execution.
Okay.
Yeah. So his crime was counterfeiting coins. And once again, he tries to justify to Dante, right? It's not his fault, right? Other people made him do it, right? Once again, we see people not learning in Dante's hell, right? So yeah, so that's all we get of him. Then we get Kynan the Greek, who fooled the citizens of Troy into allowing the Trojan horse through the gates. So once again, we see the Trojan horse story flipped, in which the Trojan horse is done by the bad guys.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
And Cynon's not even Greek, it turns out. He's from Turkey.
He's from Turkey.
I'm imagining nothing that he says is true.
Right, yeah. I'm Chaco the pig and Cynon the Greek. Right.
But turns out Chaco's not even a pig.
No. Count the fine?
He's a turkey.
He's a turkey. Wow. Okay. That was not me, folks. That was not me. All right. So we oh yes, and we also have Kynan. We have Potiphar's wife from that wonderful musical, right? Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Oh, is she a character in there?
She is.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, there's a whole. I mean, Potiphar has his song. It's like I don't know how much I can do of that. Right?
Without getting sued.
Yeah, right. But no, our buddy David Zobel, right? He was in and he played Potiphar. It was really cool.
Oh, okay.
And he did it as this so because usually you have Potiphar and he's like kind of like this massive bejowled guy with like a powder white face and he's got like all these riches and all these rings and this wonderful suit. But David had him like because David's a little bit more slim, right? So he had him like dressed in this like 3-piece suit, right? And he's like kind of like a snake oil salesman and he's walking on there and he has this really cool kind of like jaunt onto the stage. It was really neat, right? And I if I remember correctly, it was like Potiphar owned like a bar,
okay,
like a saloon or something. Yeah. So it was very cool. Shout out to David. Yeah.
So Potiphar is in here because
Potiphar's wife.
Potiphar's wife is down in hell. Yeah, they break. Dante breaks with the band again.
Right. Where's Potiphar? He would be. I guess he would be in greed, right?
I guess so.
Yeah. But yeah. So Potiphar's wife is down here for accusing Joseph. That's not Joseph. That we know, like Nativity Joseph.
Right, the Joseph of the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Exactly,
Joseph,
right? Accusing Joseph of trying to seduce and or rape her. Right, so that's the big thing, right? And that was the thing that landed Joseph in jail. And then he had that big musical number, Close Every Door, right? And all that stuff.
Right.
So, but yeah, so Potiphar's wife is down here, and we don't really hear much from her anymore.
Dante just wants to make it clear that she's down here.
Potiphar's wife is down here too, right? Yeah. So yeah, she's mentioned only briefly, and then it goes back to these two guys, Adam and Sidon, who start to bicker. And here, Dr. Holberg likens this argument to like, and I love this. She likens it to an epic rap battle, which made me think, why have we not had Dante in one of these epic rap battles?
Because it's hard to rap in this accent. It throws off all of the rhythm.
Yeah.
We take a one word and make it a 3 syllables.
Yeah, right.
Schisms.
You can't flash those signs because you're busy making the figs, But yeah, so actually Dr. Holberg reminds us that back in his younger days, Dante actually did this. He exchanged epic slams in the form of sonnets and was known as Dante the Insulter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lil Dante.
That makes me okay. What does it say about me that instead of thinking of Lil Nas X, which we have mentioned on the show, I think of Lil Caesars, and now I'm hungry, and now I want like a Lil Dante.
Hey, go help yourself. Yeah, Dante.
You would totally order a malebolge from
right. Instead of crazy bread, they have madness bread.
Here's your pizza. You can just like scrape off the the gutting of a fish.
You're scaling a fish off.
The descaling of a fish. It's 30 minutes, or your delivery guy goes straight to the 9th circle of hell.
Oh, he didn't bring any napkins. Make a new circle down there.
Yeah. Don't bring any napkins. I said Diet Pepsi! Anyway. What am I? I'm a hypocrite. I'm ordering an entire Little Dante's pizza for myself. With madness bread.
Right.
and malebolge, and I order a Diet Pepsi.
When you get a pizza or other food delivery, do you turn into the house and say like, "Hey, pizza's here," to keep from the delivery guy that it's going to be just you eating it by yourself? Like, "Hey, pizza's here. There's other people in this house."
Everybody stop partying and having sex. The pizza is here.
The pizza's here. It's 2 large pizzas.
I can't eat all of these on my own. I'm too fit.
Right. Yes, my fun, sexy friends will be eating this with me.
And the guy's like, "Okay, sir."
He's already gone. Yeah, post-COVID days, the delivery men do not sit around.
Oh yeah, he's not even.
No, they're gone.
When I opened the door, the pizza was just on the doormat. But I still did the thing. I was like,
Right.
"Hey guys, pizza's here."
Yeah. At this point, who are you trying to convince? The pizza?
Hey, his pizza never had it so good. Oh boy. Or I just say, "A lovely cheese pizza just for me." It's Home Alone, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then, is Dante with his hands, on his cheeks. He's like, "Ah!" Right. And then Ovid and Lucan are looking in the window.
This guy's the greatest writer I've ever seen.
He's not gonna eat that pizza all by himself. Look, he's got all those sexy friends with him. There's Michael Jordan on a little toy train. Insult. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we were talking about Dante the Insulter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and so maybe that's why Dante is like transfixed by this smackdown that's going on, right? And Virgil has to snap him out of it, right? He's like, "There's not much time," which isn't there, Virgil? Like, who said there was a time limit in all of this?
Yeah. Paradise closes at 10 o'clock.
You just want to go home.
You're right, to the first circle.
Yeah. In limbo. No, like Virgil gets downright threatening here.
Mm-hmm.
He says something akin to like, "Keep right on looking and we're going to have a fight." So he is definitely getting grumpier as we go.
But you're right, he's just tired. He just wants to...
he's done.
Right.
Yeah. His buddies are waiting for him, right?
I got a sexy party up on the first level. And all my sexy friends are there. The pizza's going to get there real soon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, so, okay, now Dr. Holberg also compares Dante's fascination with this bickering to our fascination with gossip or drama in the workplace or on social media, right? It's an ugly part of human nature that we want to see other people lose it, right?
Right.
There's whole like TikTok channels devoted to this very thing, right? Oh. People freaking out in public. Oh, you haven't seen those?
No.
Like people like, specifically like Karens or whatever.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Losing their shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's popular for a reason, right? Because we as humans cannot resist witnessing other people's drama, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the canto's final line here brings Virgil's and I guess Dante's message home. He says, "The wish to hear such baseness is degrading." Right? As Dr. Holberg puts it, it's less about the awfulness of the sinners engaged in this behavior and more about the way that interacting with that awfulness diminishes us.
Right? But Dante's the one writing it and telling us.
I
know. So who are you trying to convince, Dante? The pizza? Who is this for?
Guys, stop fighting. Specifically shirtless with your with your fists.
Please turn up the music and start having sex again. Everyone. There are plenty of chips and sodas. All right.
But she also points out something that is actually really fascinating to me. Right? She mentions this technique called vertical reading, in which readers compare the poem across the same numbers. And she asks us to keep track of something. So listeners, everybody, like, I guess we're all in on this. We got to do this. Mm-hmm. So she says, Master Adam's final taunt goes something in this canto. It goes something like this. It says, "You're the one who's burning and whose head aches, and it would not take much to coax you to lick up the mirror of Narcissus."
Oof.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mic drop. Right. But so Dr. Holberg notes that there is a reference to Narcissus in each of the number 30 cantos. I'm not sure if she means like Purgatorio and Paradiso, or just like 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, like of Inferno. But we'll have to keep track of that, I guess.
Yeah, I guess is that how people read them? They just had the pages of each canto around their reading rooms back in the 1300s, and they could look across the 30s like that?
But I wonder, like, that makes me think. It's like if you read, like, canto 17
mm-hmm.
of Inferno, and then stack it up against canto 17 of Purgatorio, like, are we going to find like some hidden message? Is the Declaration of Independence like
gonna steal itself? Well, we're not going to find out. Which has not been written yet. Yeah, because we're not going to look at Purgatorio.
No, we're not touching Purgatorio or Paradiso.
One of our readers can do it, and we would we would love it.
We would love it. All right. Guys,
stop reading Dante's Purgatorio in there. The pizza's here.
All right. Okay. But folks, that is all of my... All right, well, that was great. Thanks, past Lester and Kynan. Well, folks, I have been Lester Ryan Clark, both in the past and in the present. You can summon me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I am immune to the bounds of time, and I've been Kynan Diaz, and you can invoke me on Instagram and Letterboxd at Howdy Kynan.
Yeah, find more of our shows and other really cool podcasts at True Story FM. Like us on Instagram and join our Facebook listener group, Dante's Ninth Circle Sushi and Karaoke Bar, or feel free to drop us a message at thedevilsdetails@gmail.com. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously? We're not even asking for your souls. Just give us a 5 pentagram rating on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. That and sharing the show by word of mouth or on social media helps our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, folks. Until next week, love and hisses. Mwah! Shredder, the pizza's here. Stop having sex.
All my cool teenage friends.
Oh, wait, the turtles are here. Hide the pizza.
Krang, how do you know the Ninja Turtles are here? They're so good at hiding.
Shredder, are we talking about the same Ninja Turtles? They literally scream cowabunga every time they enter a room. I know where they are even when I'm not looking for them.